How can the Persian New Year inspire huge positive changes in your code? What does spring cleaning have in common with coding practices? Why should your code celebrate Nowruz too? Imagine if refactoring your code was actually about preparing for Nowruz. You'd think it meant decking out your IDE with festive themes, translating comments into Farsi, or maybe even hiding eggs in your source code for colleagues to find. Welcome, curious minds and future developers. I'm Karel, your guide and CTO for today's adventure into the realm of coding and cultural celebration. Nowruz is like the start of a new year where everything feels fresh and clean. It's a time when people tidy up their homes, making everything look neat and ready for a fresh start. Now, think about doing the same thing but in your computer code. It's like giving your code a good spring cleaning. You sort everything out, throw away what you don't need, and make sure everything that's left works really well. It's about making your code look and run as nicely as the first day of spring. When we talk about fixing up our code for Nowruz, we don't mean actual plants growing in it, but we do mean making it better and ready for new stuff to be added. Just like plants grow in spring, we clean up old mistakes and make room for new, cool features. Fixing your code for Nowruz means a few key things. First, identify redundancies. It's like finding duplicate Nowruz gifts. Identify and remove duplicate code to streamline your application. Scan your code for similar functions that can be merged. This prevents the codebase from becoming a warehouse of unused gifts, meaning cluttered and hard to navigate. Otherwise, you'll waste time navigating through a maze of repetitive code, like being lost in a bazaar. Second, improve readability. It's about making sure your code can be read as easily as a Nowruz greeting card. You should use clear naming conventions and comments. This makes it easier for others and future you to understand your code, like a well-written postcard. If you don't, your colleagues will decipher your code like ancient scripts full of confusion and guesswork. Third, optimize performance. Just like preparing the best Nowruz feast, ensure your code runs efficiently. Inspect and refine algorithms and reduce their complexity. This will enhance the user experience, making your application as welcoming as a Nowruz party. If not, your application will move like a parade in heavy traffic. Slow and frustrating. Fourth and finally, update the documentation. Try to keep your documentation as fresh as the Nowruz software. Regularly update comments and documentation to reflect code changes. This ensures that documentation is useful and relevant, like a current event calendar. If you don't, developers will rely on outdated maps, leading to misunderstandings and errors. When and why you would use refactoring? Refactoring is like celebrating Nowruz. It's something special that brings new life to your project. You don't do it when your code is getting old or not working well. You do it to keep everything fresh and working great. Like making sure everything in nature is balanced and happy for the new year. When you refactor, you make your work better, faster, clearer. Kind of like getting ready for a big, happy celebration. It's a way to make sure your project can grow and change easily, welcoming new ideas and improvements, just like you'd welcome guests to a Nowruz party. This habit keeps your code feeling alive and new, just like the feeling of spring. Methods to implement proper refactoring. Before we get into how to refactor the code right away, let's understand what it really means. Refactoring isn't just changing things in your code for no reason. It's about making thoughtful changes that make your code better without changing what it does. This means doing things that make your code easier to understand, run faster, and easier to work with in the future. So how do we do this? Perform code reviews. Engage in regular code reviews like Nowruz house visits. Regularly examine each other's code for quality and improvement opportunities, ideally before each major commit. Either schedule periodic review sessions with your team or insert it in the workflow just before new code is merged in the codebase. Otherwise, you'll miss opportunities for improvement, like forgetting to jump over the fire on Shahar Shanbi Subi.
A few moments later.
Like forgetting to jump over the fire on Shahar Shanbi Subi. Suri.
Eternity later.
Like forgetting to jump over the fire on Shahar Shanbi Suri. Wow.
Eventually.
Implement automated testing. Establish a safety net as dependable as the Nowruz countdown. Create tests that automatically verify the functionality of your code before and after changes. You should implement unit, integration, and end-to-end tests. A good approach is to run these automatically after merges to your main trunk or key branches, especially the production one. If you don't, you risk introducing new bugs like an unwelcome Nowruz crasher. Approach refactoring like the slow unveiling of a half scene. Make small, manageable changes rather than overhauling everything at once. Maybe agree to have a set number of hours each week to perform this. I would even keep it to an absolute minimum of 2 to 4 hours each week to force colleagues to focus on one aspect of the code at a time. If you attack too much, it will be an overwhelming task. Like preparing for Nowruz in one day could lead to burnout and mistakes. In conversational terms, refactoring is like getting your digital house ready for the most significant celebration of the year, ensuring everything is clean, organized, and running smoothly. For those that like the complicated version, refactoring is the process of restructuring existing computer code, changing to factoring without changing its external behavior to improve non-functional attributes of the software. If you're looking for more insights or laughs on your development journey, consider clicking on 2 videos on your left. The top one is handpicked for you, filled with wisdom and wit, while the bottom one is our latest release, guaranteed to enlighten or at least entertain. Here's the coding practices that are as refreshing and hopeful as Nowruz itself. To my Persian friends, Happy Nowruz.